can't right now. I'm busy doing the movie. Yeah, but one rat's not gonna kill them. They can deal with it. Just give me another hour or two and then I'll sort it out, okay? Just leave me alone for now, alright? Okay, I love you too. Alright, bye-bye. Are we rolling? I didn't even say action. Alright. My name is Mike Krotchitch and I am a proud landlord. I own 7 properties all around Wellington and it's just been a business that's been running in my family for generations now. Yeah. Oh, and I have a wife and 2 kids. Wait. No. 3 kids. A wife and 3 kids. you can cut that, right?
Hey, would you mind telling us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, I am Sylvia Byrne. I'm a design student from Massey University and I am one of Mike Krotchitch's tenants.
Who do you live with?
I live with 5 other students.
Wow, that's a lot of people. Are you all friends?
No. They're all right, but I mean, when I was looking for a flat, it was the start of uni, so it was really competitive and there weren't really a whole lot of options.
I was a student once, believe it or not. And yeah, I know it's hard, but what isn't hard? It's not my fault that your buddies don't know how to clean up after themselves. You don't see mold growing anywhere in my property.
How do you find your neighbours and the neighbourhood?
The neighbours are alright. The guy upstairs is kind of loud. He's always playing video games really late at night. Never actually seen him leave his apartment though.
How do you feel about your current financial position?
My financial position? I don't really think I can say I have a financial position. I'm severely in debt.
Do you think what you're paying for the property is fair?
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, look around. There's nothing about this place that tells you we should be paying $12.50 a week for this place.
What kind of amenities do you have around the house?
Amenities? I mean, we've got a washing machine. Kind of broke like 5 months ago though.
How come it hasn't been fixed?
You tell me. I mean, I've been taking my laundry to my boyfriend's house for months.
I understand that I might not be as attentive as your parents are, but learning to clean up after yourselves and maintaining your property is just a part of growing up.
How many jobs do you have?
I've got 3 jobs. I work at a supermarket during the week, a cafe on the weekends, and I'm a bartender as well. I also sometimes do volunteer work, but that's not paid.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I have my main job at this IT company I helped found about 18 years ago, and I am obviously a property investor. And kids, man, they're a whole job in themselves, am I right?
What kind of responsibilities do you think the landlord and tenant should have?
Well, I mean, obviously it's the tenant's responsibility to look after the property and not wreck it, but I think the landlord should be responsible for making sure it's livable in the first place. I mean, if you're not going to provide your tenants with the means to take care of the garden, I definitely think that should also be one of their responsibilities.
Being a landlord comes with a lot of responsibilities that just kind of go behind the scenes, stuff that you really wouldn't think about. I mean, I have to manage inspections, I have to make sure the property is not only livable but also profitable.
What's your relationship like with your landlord?
Mike? It's not the most communicative. I mean, sometimes he just shows up without any warning and he'll look around the outside of the house and then just leave without saying anything.
Well, it would be great if I could walk into a house that I legally own without a tenant complaining about me entering their space. I mean, it is literally mine that I own. How is it fair that I can't come onto my own property? I just don't understand that.
How do you deal with the dispute between you and the landlord?
I mean, like, I know I could take them to the tenancy tribunal, but what if I got blacklisted? I mean, then I'd never find another place to live.
Well, if there's ever any problems, I just try my best to stay out of it. And that's not me being, unkind or disrespectful. That's me literally respecting someone else's business. And If you don't like that, then go find someplace else to deal with it.
What are some of the biggest problems you faced as a tenant?
I mean, I think one of the biggest problems is not hearing from my landlord. I mean, when you've got genuine concerns about a house and you just don't hear from them at all, it can be really frustrating.
One of the biggest problems of being a landlord is having to deal with tenants that just don't respect the property or choose not to follow the rules of my tenancy agreement. It can be time consuming and it can be costly to have to deal with these matters while also trying to maintain the home to a healthy standard. I know my tenants, and I know that they've got a problem, they will come and talk to me about it like an adult rather than just talking behind my back.
What if we told you we did have a tenant of yours who wants to talk to you about the problems going on in one of their flats?
One of my tenants? I tell you to speak with my lawyer.
What improvements and changes would you like to see in the rental market?
Well, I'd like to see landlords held accountable for the properties that they're providing for a start. I mean, the amount of people I know that are living with black mold just growing on their ceilings or the back of their curtains is insane. I also think the bond system needs to change. I mean, I've been waiting 9 months to get my bond back from my last flat and the property manager's basically ghosted me. I've heard nothing.
Would you mind if we took a look around?
Yeah, of course. Alright, so this is our living room, as you can see. One of my flatmates as well. So we don't have a whole lot of storage in this space, so we've got this like storage tent. It's just from the warehouse, nothing fancy. If we come through here, we've got the kitchen. Our fridge is kind of old, a little bit musty. This drawer sometimes gets stuck, like there's heaps of water that collects. It's really frustrating. Again, not a whole lot of storage in here, so we added in these shelves ourselves, just to clear some counter space. Through here is the bathroom, broken washing machine in question. It's been like 5 months, it needs to be fixed. And this is our leaky shower. If we come through again, sorry, excuse me. I think one of the biggest problems that we have at the moment is the fact that our door handle's actually broken. And if I try and like open the door, 1 second. Yeah, that happens.
Could you please introduce yourself to us and tell us a little bit about your job here at the Citizens Advice Bureau?
Yeah, my name's Raha. I'm a student, but in my free time I volunteer at the Citizens Advice Bureau in Newtown, and basically we just help people out with a variety of issues and give advice or direct them to further resources. Yeah, so that's what we do here.
Cool. What should a tenancy agreement cover? Before signing the contract, what are some important things to note on the flat contract agreement?
Yeah, so if you're renting a place either part of a group or on your own, you should have a written tenancy agreement, and it will just outline the basic things of the tenancy: when it starts, when it finishes, what the rent is, what the bond is, and the responsibilities for the tenants and the landlord. So it's really good to have a good read of that and make sure you definitely have one at the beginning of your tenancy. Yeah.
In a standard tenancy agreement, who is responsible for what in terms of looking after different elements of the property, like garden maintenance and making sure vents are clean, plumbing issues?
That kind of information is usually laid out in the tenancy agreement. Generally, the day-to-day things like Wi-Fi, electricity, things like that, hot gas, are usually dealt with by the tenants. But if there's maybe a feature of the property that needs ongoing maintenance, like a big tree in the backyard or a pool, the landlord might have a process or system to maintain that. But it's important, to read that in the tenancy agreement so that you know what you're responsible for.
What steps should tenants take if their landlord unlawfully holds the bond deposit? Can you clarify the eviction process and the rights of tenants and landlords involved?
Yeah, I know bonds can be really stressful for young renters. It's usually quite a lot of money up front, and it's really important to note that that money should go straight to tenancy services. Your landlord shouldn't be holding it, and you should be getting a receipt when they've paid it into tenancy services. So if you do have a problem with the bond, it's a really good idea to give them a call, and they can tell you about the status of the bond, whether it's been submitted, and you can control it through there.
What does the process of ending a tenancy involve?
It usually differs between the type of tenancy. If you've got a periodic tenancy that doesn't have an end, then you just issue a notice to the landlord or property manager saying you want to end the tenancy. But the more common type of rental agreement is a fixed term lease. So say you rent it from January 1st one year to January 1st the next year, you're obliged to finish that tenancy. And I know that catches students up quite a lot because often we want to go home for summer, but the lease doesn't end till January, February. So you can go to the tenancy tribunal and claim hardship, maybe economic circumstances, or that the property is not adequate, but it can be quite difficult to get through on that kind of process because the threshold has to be pretty high and you have to be disadvantaged more than the landlord would be if you stop renting the property. So it's usually we recommend, and landlords usually recommend as well, that you try to assign or sublet people to the flat or to the room, and they cannot unreasonably refuse. So that's a much better route for students, and it's good to be aware of those things before planning things for the end of the year. Yeah.
Do you have any resources you would recommend for tenants or landlords who are facing issues with their tenancy but don't know what to do about it?
I would definitely recommend going onto the CAB website. You can just put in simple things like what should be in a tenancy agreement, what should I do if XYZ, you can get pretty good answers. If you want something further, especially if it's getting a bit more complex, you can call up tenancy services. They won't rat you out to your landlord that you're asking questions, but it can be good to know what's legal and what's not. Yeah.
Great. Thank you very much.